Another day,
Welcome to the Power Nap, y'all. We're starting a little bit later today. Folks who are watching this and watching the playback, you won't know, but all right. But we're starting a little bit later than we usually do today, and it is my fault. Okay, I got up ready for action. Start reading my devotion, having some quiet time, some real strategic rest. And y'all, I fell asleep. Dr. called and said, hey, are we still? Hey, are we still? I'm like, oh my goodness. So anyway, if you had any doubt that we believe in strategic rest,
what was your devotion?
today, how are you today, Dr. K?
I'm good. What was your devotion about?
So it was about, ironically, it was talking about kind of like a house divided and how like a house divided can't be strong, if that makes sense. And so I don't know, I guess it lulled me. I guess maybe my house is not divided. So it lulled me into a safe space. But yes.
Yeah, which is, I think all that's been going on the last couple of weeks, especially within like DEI spaces and, those things or actions that are happening. It almost in some spaces seems like a house divided amongst different people in terms of what actions do we need to take, etc. I was listening to Tabitha Brown. She had did a video, I think the other day, regarding Target and her brand is there, and she made a point where you can boycott, right? And you boycotting a store turns down the sales of Black owned businesses that are in those stores,
right?
Versus still going to the store but only buying Black owned stuff. And so that really resonated with me in terms of how we can see the same thing happening but have two different ideas of a way to address it. And sometimes that puts people in spaces that make it feel like it's a house divided. And I think that comes down to us really having, or people in general, when you're in network with people, having real conversations around this idea that came to me in terms of who I am versus what I do and how I show up, right? The characteristics that I have. So yeah, it's been a week outside of the coldness. It's been a week.
You say outside of the coldness, yes, it has. Absolutely. And also, to me, one of the things that it has made me kind of think about is actually how rest can sometimes feel when you're creating a community around it, right? And people that value it. Because for so many people who have been, working hard to get to this space, right? It feels like I got here and now it's about to be taken away from me from other people. And so what does it look like to kind of, I don't know, what does it look like to pivot, right? When the things around you don't look like that they're going to be suitable for rest. How do you still find rest in the tumultuous times, right? Like that is, to me, what this movement is about. That's exactly what NAP is about. That when you're facing something that's still, how can you find space, right, for rest, because it's so important in order for you to be able to face these things. Most people would go like, okay, once I get through this insane situation, right? This thing I worked so hard for people to see my stuff, for people to do all of this, they would go, after this, I'm going to rest, right? And then when the next thing comes, you're not rested. But like really, when you kind of lean into the NAP framework, you've got to, even in those moments where everything feels like it's imploding, right? Like around you, to still be able to find that space so that you have what you need, the fuel you need to continue to push through, especially as life just brings moments consistently that feel like that. So if you're always waiting to rest, then you're never rested, right? So that's what my hope is, that she's still, that all of us, right? Because we've got a long way to go. This that was just the beginning, right? And so if people are saying, I'm going to wait, then imagine spending the rest of whatever waiting for rest so you burn out.
Yeah. And I mean, and it recycles back to the whole concept of the be, do, have, etc. And feeling that you have to have all of these things before you rest and be at peace with whatever, that's essentially playing victim. Constantly playing the victim in your own life. Because I mean, you think about it, how do you know everything that you need to have to move to the next level, step, etc.? You don't. You only know what is in your environment and what you've been told or what you believe, right? And so you can read all the books about this is what I need to have to be successful, etc., and you do all those things and you're still not successful.
Yeah.
And then you go back into the cycle. Okay, well, what else do I need to have? And that's playing victim. Right? There's no way of being in that space. It's constantly a space of I have to have all of these things in place, which lends me to, a famous quote. I don't know who came up with it or whatever, but I say it often, I be ready, right? So I don't have to get ready because I'm already ready. Right. And part of already being ready is being open to learning something new at any moment. Any experience. I had so this is my year of being more social and getting out and networking a little bit more intentionally. And one of my sorority sisters invited me to afternoon tea. I've never done that before. And honestly, when I saw it, I thought it was just like a thing for the restaurant we was going to or something. So I walked in and I was like, where is she? And it was a literal afternoon tea, like stuff I remember seeing on TV, like the Bridgerton and those types of things.
Yes, tea.
And it was one of those spaces where you have the little small bites, and then they brought us our tea. And one of the things that, and shout out to her, Melissa Holloway, one of the things that she taught me in that space was oftentimes we see, and I'm speaking as a Black woman, see things portrayed a certain way as though they're meant for certain people. And then when she gave me like her background story of how she grew to love tea and it came from, her family, etc. And I realized I never had those types of experiences, right? And so it's very, excuse my dog, it's very eye-opening for me now that as I'm having these social outings with people that though they look like me, I already know their experiences are different and what that can show me, especially in the space of rest, because I mean, we stayed there and talked and got to know each other and found out, we have a good number of similarities, which we probably wouldn't have known had we not just taken the time and, had the afternoon tea. But what it showed me was it was a restful space. I came in with my Jordans on, a hoodie, etc. She had her jeans, etc. Then across the way, there was a group of ladies that had like the hats and the nice dresses and all stuff. And it reminded me that oftentimes we don't do experiences because we feel like we have to show up a certain way.
Yes. or that experiences are not for us, right? And so much of nurturing and creating those spaces is also being willing to look for new spaces where rest can come to you. So this weekend, which is abnormal for me, right? I like randomly called texted a friend who I absolutely adore, right? And said, hey, do you want to go to the movies? Now she is a busy lady, okay? And most people will say the same thing about me. Which I'd be like, don't decide for me that I'm busy. Invite me, right? And let me decide whether or not I can come or not. But anyway, so listen, for your friends that you think are busy, still send the text message because you don't know. Like, stop deciding for people whether they're busy. You may be missing out on your rest experience because you have decided for someone else that they can't be a part of your rest. But anyway, okay. Listen,
that's real.
That's like for real, like serious. Like too many people make assumptions about what's going on for people. And let me tell you, this is the thing, right? And take this as it is. But people do what they want to do. Okay. And if you don't learn anything else, if you don't hear anything else, people do what they want to do. Okay. Yeah. So if people, and especially, of course, we're talking about rest right now, but if people don't show up for you in a space that helps you be foundational or around community, around rest, then they don't want to.
That's it.
No love lost, and that's okay. You have to let people let them. Right now, I cannot think of the book, but right now, my pastor is preaching on a book based on it's called Let Them, and it literally is this lady who wrote a book, and it's like I can't think of the name. Oh, that's so bad. But right now, if you're checking for a good book beside ours, which remember we are always talking about our book, Strategic Rest and Leadership, but you read that and you're looking for something else. Not read it, but anyway, lots of things have been based off of that. So anyway, let them also, let people, right, have the opportunity to show up for you. But if you never ask them to, then they can't. But anyway, so I just out of the blue texted a friend and was like, hey, do you want to go to the movies? And so she was like, yeah, okay, sure, right? Now, when I asked her, the time that I asked her if she wanted to go to the movies, she said she couldn't. She had something else, but she said, but what about the next day? And I said, okay, deal, right? So we found the time, the space to go. And I told her, this is low key. I said, I'm not dressing up. I'm not putting on any makeup. We just about to sneak into this movie theater, like watch this movie and have a good time, right? And she was like, absolutely, that's why we do this. So I said, hey, is there anybody else you want to invite? And we giggled because we both knew no. Right? Like it was just gonna be us. And that's important too. As you build your rest community, right? Sometimes it's just one other person. Everything ain't gotta be a group, okay, in order for you to feel rejuvenated when you're done. So anyway, we go. And we're in the movies, and these three ladies walk in right before the movie starts. Like it hasn't started yet, right? But it's a group of older women who don't share the same racial background. Assumption was based on, that they didn't. So we kind of looked at each other in the dark movie theater, my friend and I, and we were kind of like, oh my goodness, they in the wrong movie. Because we went to go see the new Issa Rae movie, One of Them Days. Okay. It's cute as pie.
It is.
Like, super cute, tons of giggles. And it was even funnier when you're sharing it with a friend that you're sitting in the movie theater with. So if you haven't seen it, go support our Auntie Kiki, okay, and SZA. Whatever the case is, the ladies were there, and we were just saying to ourselves they probably didn't belong there, that they were going to have to hop up to go find their actual movie once the movie started. So we were waiting on them to do that. The credits start rolling, and the first screen comes up, and the first scene of the movie comes up, and they start laughing. That was in the movie that they had chosen. walked up the stairs, right? Because of course the movie theater was full of people who did not look like them. That there may have been a moment where they felt like, am I supposed to be here? But the fact that they did, they decided this was where they wanted to be and that they were going to have a good time. And let me tell you, it did something for my soul to hear the three of them back there cackling and laughing and enjoying the movie. So much so that when the movie was done, right, I couldn't help myself. So me and my friend were about to walk out and I couldn't help myself. I had to turn around because it was only us left in the movie theater, right? And I said, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Well, no, first I said, did y'all have a good time? And they were like, yes, that was so good. I love that movie. It was wonderful. And I bust out laughing. And then I said, y'all, I have to tell you this. When y'all walked in, I thought y'all were at the wrong movie. And they felt laughing like, oh my God. No. And I said, when y'all didn't get up, I was just like, wow, I cannot believe it that you were staying here. And then when I heard y'all laughing and giggling and having a good time, it just did something special. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? You may not realize how much your rest, you literally resting, can inspire someone else, can create something different. Because I literally left that movie theater feeling like, man, even though everything around me feels like, right? Yeah. That just maybe we'll be okay. Yeah. So what about your rest? What about the rest that you're doing? Rest isn't just for you. It's so that you can show up in the spaces that you're called to be at your best. Yeah. But also, how as leaders do we model rest? And when we do, something transformative happens for other folks.
Yeah, it's that we say I am all these things, and I was looking for the word to match that, and I saw it, and I can't remember if it was a preacher or something I saw on Instagram, but basically we say we are these things, but our habits show differently.
Man.
I'm a believer, but my habits show that I don't have faith in him and trust the process. I am a connector, yet I only connect to the same people.
Whew.
And so at some point, we have to get to, if we choose to, a space of rest for clarity to say, am I still this type of person? Do I still want to be this type of person? And if I do, how do I allow my habits to match? Because right now, and I even speak for myself as I begin to think about who I say I am doesn't always match my habits.
Man.
And that's because, one, a lack of rest, which leads to a lack of clarity, right? Which leads to missing out on experiences. And I think about, had I always said, oh, I'm this type of person. I'm a social butterfly. Yeah, I don't go anywhere, or I go to the same places. The amount of experiences and connections and opportunities I have missed because I've allowed my habits to overpower who I am.
Yeah.
Because they're not in alignment with one another. And it's so easy to pick up habits because we tend to pick up habits based on our environment and those around us, even though we say we are a certain type of person.
Wow. So essentially, right, if you are surrounded by people who don't value rest, you tend to not rest, right?
Facts.
Or even if their thought processes don't, like I said, don't value it, right? It through their actions or otherwise, it can feel difficult around. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you to be like, listen, you don't love rest, so,
right.
So I'm out of here, right? Like, don't walk into your job talking about y'all don't value rest. So I'm out of here. But what are you doing, right, to in the spaces that you can fully control in order to ensure that the people that you're interacting with, the people that you're building space with, are you finding, like we started at the beginning talking about, because rest isn't just people, it just isn't just the things that you do together. How are you learning something new, right? That also allows for you to find space and clarity around things. That's also kind of where rest can be. So absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, from the framework, we go from this nurturing space to now how do we begin to assess the environments, even the environments where it's just us alone, about what it means to rest.
Absolutely.
Right. And, it doesn't take much for a habit to kick in, but it takes quite a lot of work to break a habit that you no longer want.
Don't they say it's like maybe 21 days or something to break a habit? I don't know how real that is.
Yeah, 21 to 30 is what I've seen. I've seen some spaces 21 habits, some 30 habits. But we know at least it's more than 2 weeks in some spaces. But even in the space of breaking a habit, you often aren't able to do it alone. Right? Because you're still using the same tools, but having other people or other spaces that use different tools that could help you.
Yeah.
But because you don't want people in your business, whatever you want to call it, I'm just staying in this space. And I'm going to do it myself. And you've been doing it yourself for the last 45 years.
And it ain't been working. Okay?
Ain't been working a bit. Nope. Not working. Not working.
It ain't been working. Okay. Like we wanted to, but it has not been working.
Yeah. I hear this a lot in different spaces, different sectors. Everybody wants community, whether they want a voice that or not. But everybody doesn't know what community looks like. And when you don't know what something looks like, it's hard to find it or notice that you're already in it. But we long for community. We long for this sense of belonging. But if I've never experienced it, at least in my, thought process, I don't even know when I see it.
Yeah.
But when you break away that habit of not being open and trusting the process, you won't see it. But once you break that habit, I'm open to this experience. And this is the exact community. This is what I wanted to feel. And it's in this space. I never thought it would be with these folks in this space. And I think part of the habit breaking is breaking the habit that you have to be closed off. You have to be closed minded, that you can't trust nobody, etc. Because we really got to break down what trust really means. I'm going to trust you to be exactly who you are. And if we know that most people in the world don't know who they are, which it's okay, it's neither bad or indifferent, then I'm trusting you to be human.
Yeah.
I'm trusting you to make mistakes. I'm trusting you to make me laugh. I'm trusting you to connect me with people. I'm trusting you to connect me with people that may not be aligned to me. I'm trusting you to be human, whatever that may be. And in community and in experiences, then I get to decide, are you part of the community I want to be in? But we don't even get to that part.
No, right? Well, mostly because of the vulnerability around, allowing other people to be, in your space, right? And then sometimes that feels like, oh, they may be holding me accountable for something I said I wanted, right? And now I'm not doing. But that to me is exactly what you need. People who will say, hey, you said that we were going to do this or that we were going to rest, that the trip actually gets out the group chat. Okay.
Right, that part.
You need those folks, because they will also, in times where you forget, right? Because no one's perfect, especially as we battle everything around us that tells us we need to constantly work, right? No one's perfect in being able to do that. So you need the people who will not just advocate for themselves, but also advocate for your rest, right? And when they see you not doing the thing that they know is something important to you, that they will also hold your hand and call you to the carpet to go, listen, you need to take space, right?
Yeah.
You need to make space, take space, and to show up for yourself. And when you surround yourself with people who are like that, the impact that you're able to make because of it is just everything. It's
Yeah.
just everything.
Yeah. So I know we're pushing for time.
I know.
Last time you mentioned the word limitless and you had watched Wicked.
Yes.
So afterwards I went and bought it and watched it, right? And what she was saying was unlimited.
I knew. I was like, I just keep hearing what I want to hear, but she's saying unlimited, right? Okay.
And so, you know me, I took that and I was like, oh, so I went and wrote a blog about it. And
Where can we find the blog?
On my website, so clearpathwaycs.com. And then I'm a researcher, so I started researching the difference between the word limitless versus unlimited. And so one of the things that I wrote was limitless suggests that there are no boundaries, no constraints. But unlimited, that's more about potential. Because when you have potential, you have to have some level of boundaries. And I sat in that thing for a while, and I was just like, after I got over the fact that the whole thing was like pink and green, but that's neither here or there.
Of course it was, because it was a very serious matter. Yes. Okay. And if you're a soror of Alpha Sorority Incorporated and you're in the comments, feel free to go ahead and hear her with some more pink and green. Okay. But yeah, no, you're what you just dropped, right? Yeah. One of the things, like what popped into my mind when you said the difference between the two. Listen, we got Sigma's yes. Everybody Greek. Go ahead to the comments. We gonna show out. But okay, thanks, sis. Look, showing up for the folks. Okay. As we wrap this up, what popped into my mind, especially since you said unlimited is about potential, right? And limitless is about no boundaries. So to me, when the potential has boundaries, you actually still, even though it's unlimited, have to, when it comes to potential, and I say this all the time to people, potential don't mean nothing to me unless somebody shows up in action, right? Because people can potential all day. There are better everything than the person. The only difference is that one person showed up in action. They did it versus someone who could do it, right? So when you're there are limits to it. Even to the unlimitedness, there's maybe you have unlimited potential, right? But until you move it over into the action piece, and that preaches about rest too. You may have the potential to rest, and to have all the benefits that rest will bring you. But until you move it, right? Until you move it into the limitless space, then what is it doing? What is it doing for you, right?
Yeah.
I need y'all to really reframe this week around like how rest can look for you when it's limitless, right? Versus just that an unlimited amount exists for me to have.
Yeah.
That's the fight we're fighting right now. That there is unlimited rest, right? I know I can get it. There's nothing there's no one saying I can't have it, and that makes it unlimited, right? But when we start to reframe our minds around rest being limitless, that's where the work comes. That's where the impact comes. That's where the success comes, because that's where the action is.
Yeah. So, just a reminder to folks,
Yes.
we have our Strategic Rest Summit coming June 6th to 8th in Greensboro, North Carolina, and registration link will be dropping this week. So make sure you stay tuned for that and get registered. We have a limited amount of investment tickets for this space because we want to make sure it's an intimate occasion where we're actually strategically resting and learning and growing and connecting together. So, yeah.
Love it. And again, if you are, I don't even have the graphic, but it'll be fine. I have it up on the screen, but to me, it won't look as great. But if you have not already, you need to go ahead and get on down to the nearest bookstore to get Strategic Rest and Leadership, our book that this 30-minute recharge is based on. You all, I hope that you have the best week. Dr. K, thanks for talking with me today. Have the best week. We'll see you here at 10 o'clock. I promise. On next Sunday, ready for action. Until then, make good decisions and make sure that you take action in your strategic rest. See you next week.
Go Commanders. Bye.